Hey everyone, this is part 2 of 2 on week 5 on systems of 2 equations. So we're doing the last 3 problems from the elimination section. But before I begin to do those 3 problems, I want to let you know that these handouts are available online on Canvas or on Google Classroom. The first page, it contains the 3 methods for solving systems of equations, like the graphing portion or section. And the second part of that first page I just showed you is notes of systems of linear equations, like how you identify by terminology like consistent and inconsistent. There are written right there. And let me go back and switch over what we did before. The second page is the substitution method that we did from the previous video. I show you how to do that step by step. And we're going to do this elimination. It's going to be a lot easier than substitution. I will tell you why in a few moments. But this is going to be very important. These 2 pages, actually 4 pages, but 2 pages, you can print them out on front and back or individual, what you prefer. But as long as you have these notes, it's going to help you with your assignment. So I want to show y'all that before I begin. So let's go on to the next page. Let's go on here to the first problem. On 15 on the elimination, 8x minus 6y equals negative 20, negative 16 plus 7y equals 30. Okay. Well, would you prefer to get the x's or the y's based on what you see on the front screen? I believe we could do the x's. So we have negative 16x. We had to multiply the top row by a positive 2. Okay, we're going to do this step by step. We have 8x times 2 that gives us 16x. That will help us to even the playing field. And then we have negative 6y times 2 that gives us a negative 12. Y, make sure you have your variables in there. And then we have a negative 20 times 2 that gives us a negative 40 as the equals part. Then we have this first line already completed. Now we can bring the original across. Make sure you write everything down. It's going to determine which one you got it correct. And we're going to double check. Now, since we have this together, we cross out the x's out completely. It's a negative and positive x. Then you'll bring down, then we have the y's. The negative 12y plus 7y that gives us 5y is a negative or positive? It's a negative 5y. Very good. Then we'll do the basic arithmetic here. So it's negative 40 plus 30, I believe, is a negative 10. We're almost halfway done the first part. Then we're going to divide negative 5 to both sides of the equation. Cancel out the 5s on the left side of the equation. We bring down the y. We have a negative 10 divided by a negative 5. I believe it's a positive 2. We got the y. Any questions so far on how I determine the x's, get rid of the x's part? Okay, very good. Then we could do is the next part, we could substitute for the y in any of the 2 equations. Would you prefer the top or the bottom equation? I'm going to do the top, actually. It's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to bring this down. 8x. We substitute the y is the positive 2 for the y. And then negative 20. Then we're going to do the basic math. Bring the 8x. Multiply these two. Negative 6 times 2. That gives a negative 12. And then negative 20 equals negative 20. And then we could do the simple arithmetic. This will be a positive 12. So we add 12 to both sides of the equation. Bring down the x, 8x. Cross out the 12s. We got negative 20 plus 12, I believe is a negative 8. Then you divide 8 to both sides of the equation. Cross out the 8 on the side of the x. Bring down the x. We got negative 8 divided by 8. That gives us a negative 1. We're almost done. We could do a check. Make sure I'm going to use the original equation, the 8x. Substitute the negative 1 for the x. Minus 6. Substitute the 2 for the y. Make sure it's a negative 20. Make sure it's this part. Multiply these two. This will be a negative 8. This and negative 6 times 2. That gives us a negative. Hold on. Yes, that's right. Negative 12. That was something else. Negative 20. It'll be a negative 12. The next one will be a negative 20. Negative 8 minus 12 is a negative 20. Does this match? Yes. So our final answer is negative 1 and 2 for the answer. So there we have it. We just figure out the first part. We just use the first equation to multiply by 2 to get the second row as the negative 16. And everything falls in together. And then we got the first variable, which is y equals 2. And then we could substitute the y equals 2 for any of the two equations and use the top row. And that's why I substituted. And then once I did all the work and I checked my problem to make sure that it is correct, in this instance it is. So that is how I did elimination. So any questions on number 15? Like I said in the previous videos, you're more than welcome to stop the video at any time to make sure that you're on the right path and make sure your answers are on point. Alright. Now we're finished with this part. We're going to do number 18. 18 is a little bit... what's the word I can tell you? It's a little bit weird because it has a fraction in the mix. Alright? So bear with me for a few moments. I'm going to show you what you could do. Alright. Let's see. Okay. We got negative 24 minus 8x equals 12y. And then the second equation, we got 1 plus 5/9 y equals negative 18th x. Okay. Here's the thing we need to point out real quick. It's a little bit weird, but we have to do this. We have to multiply one of these equations by a certain number. We want to try the second equation by 18. Okay, we're going to leave that alone. We're going to do the original work first. So bear in mind, I'm going to bring the top one there. Okay. Then we're going to do the second equation by 18 times 18. 1 times 18 is 18. Then we got 5/9 times 18. I believe we get 10. Because here's the thing. We got 18 times 5, I believe. Let's see, 40. 90, because 8 times 5 is 40. Carry the 4. We got 1 times 5 is 5. Add 4 to the original is 90. 90 divided by 9 is 10 actually. So we got a 10y. My math is a little off, but I'm okay. Then we got negative 17, negative 7 times, negative 7, 18 times 18. We get rid of the 18, so we got negative 7x. So this is what we got. We clean it up just a bit. Now we could do this. We could rearrange both. Equations. Okay. All right. We could do that. Actually, we can. Yes, we can. So watch. I'm going to do one part here. I'm going to move this to the left. So let me see. And move this up to the left. And move this on the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to do this. In order to go, we have the x, so we're okay. Now we have to move the y over. We have to subtract 12y to both sides. And then we have to add 24 to both sides. This will become completely closed, canceled actually. And then you'll rearrange it. The x goes first, 8x, negative 8x, minus 12y equals 24. That's our new one. So far, you see how I got that? All right. Then I'm going to move to the second part. Since we had the y in, we had to do something with the x. So we had to add 7x to both sides. And then we subtract 18 to both sides. You want to make sure that ax plus by equals c, that kind of formula, the equation portion. So we could cross out the 18s across and cross out this 7x's. So our new equation is 7x plus 10y equals negative 18. So we got two new equations. Any questions on how I did rearranging that part? All right. Then I'm going to move this over. Forgot the y. Forgive me. In order to do this, we can do something real quick. We can multiply. In the last equation, we'll multiply by 2. Right? The last system of equations. In this instance, I see we can multiply two different numbers. All right? we can do that. We can multiply, but let's do the x's. We can multiply by 7 here in the first row. In the second row, we could do the 8. All right? Let's do the first row. Negative 8 times 7 is a negative 56x. Then we have a negative 12 times 7 is a negative 84y. And then we got 24 times 7 that gives us 168. Okay, so far so good. Then you do the same thing here. We got 7 times 8 is 56x. 10 times 8 is 80, which is 80y, positive 80y. And then in negative 18 times 8 is a negative 144. We cross out the x's there. What is 8 negative 84 plus 80? 4y. And then we got 168 minus 144, I believe is 24. Don't forget the negative in front of the y. It's a bad habit. That's me. I make mistakes, so I try to correct it. Then we had 24 divided by negative 4 to get the y. Cross out the negative 4s. We got 24 divided by negative 4 is a negative 6. We got the y. Now we could do the negative y for any of the two equations under the first equation. And solve for x. We're solving for x. Then I do this. What is 12 times negative 6 is a negative 72. And then we do 24, add 24 to both sides of the equation. Yeah, that's right. So it'll be 72, negative 72 plus 24 would be 48, negative 48, negative 8x. And then we subtract, divide by negative 8 to both sides. Negative 8s go away. And we got negative 40, actually a negative 48 divided by negative 8, that gives us a positive 6. And that's our answers. 6 and negative 6. So, there we have it. We have to do one thing here, the original, multiply by 18 to get rid of the fractions, which is this part. And then we have to rearrange these two equations to be like x and y equals whatever. And this is what it looks like after rearranging them. And then you bring those two new equations, you multiply by different numbers to get rid of one variable, which in this case is 8x, actually x. And we solve for y. And then we use that new number for y to substitute in any of these two equations. And I use the top equation. And this is our substitute for y. Everything else turned into the final answer is x equals 6. So final answer is 6, x equals 6, y equals negative 6. On that note, any questions on number 18? All right, we're almost done, y'all. All right, we're almost done. All right. Well, the last problem we have, we did fractions. In this problem, we don't. But we could do the rearranging this part. We have negative 16y equals 22 plus 6x. Negative xy, negative 11x minus 4x equals 15. We could rearrange both equations. Let's do this. I'm going to do it off by hand. Let me move this over. Let's see. Bring the 6x across, so we got negative 6x. Our new equation is negative 6x, negative 16y equals 22. And then you do the same thing here, almost similar. What we're going to do is just flip it over. Flip it. So we have negative 4x, negative 11y equals 15. All right, just flip it over. All right, now we are finishing up just a little bit. And which numbers do we multiply to get the x's out across? We can multiply the negative 4 on the first row. In the bottom row, we got positive 6. Let's do the first row. Negative 6 times 4 is a negative 6 times negative 4 is a positive 24x. Okay, this is a negative. We got a negative 16 times a negative 4. That gives us a positive 64y. And then we got 22 times a negative 4. That gives us a negative 88. I'm going to run out of room. Oh my goodness, hold on. Before I continue, okay, that's a negative. So he's here as a negative. Now we can do the same thing. Negative 4 times 6 is a negative 24x. And then got a negative 11 times a positive 6 is a negative 66y. And then we got 15 times 6 is 80. 90 actually. 90. Almost made a boo-boo. Now we could cross out the x's. Huh? No. We have 64y minus 66y to give us a negative 2y. Then we have a negative 88 plus 90 that give us a positive 2. And then we go and then divide by negative 2 to both sides of the equation. Get rid of the negative 2 on the other side. We got y equals negative positive 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. Now we could use this to sub in for the original equations. So I'm going to use in the second one. Negative 11y. Y is the negative 1. Then minus 4x equals 15. Then we do, this will be turned to a positive 11. Then we do the rest of the work. Subtract 11 to both sides. Then this, bring down the negative 4x. And this will be a positive 4. Divide by a negative 4 to both sides. Go this cross. Then we have x equals -1. These are our final answers. So, this is how we done. First thing first, when you see this problem, rearrange it to like this. Okay? Once you have rearranged it, like I have it previously, then you determine which numbers you multiply, 1 or 2 numbers to multiply. To eliminate a variable, in this case, we eliminate the x. Then we have what is left over is the y. And then after we figure out for the y, we just use one of the original equations to solve for x, which I use the second equation. And this is how I got it. So, on that end of the problem, do you have any more questions for 22? For problem 22? Alright, folks, there we have it. We just finished with the elimination part. That wasn't too bad. It's just a little, just doing the basic arithmetic and make sure you have all your variables all together. Like I almost did a couple of times, made mistakes, but I just corrected it. And then double check your work to make sure you got the right coordinates, the right variables for each problem. Until then, everyone, you have a good rest of your evening. Until then, I'll talk to you sooner than later. Talk to you then, folks.